Alrighty, let's move on to NCAA football, Nolly, my man. We are going to start with Tulane, Houston. And I know that you have looks on FAU, Southern Miss, and Mississippi State, Kentucky. But let's start with Tulane, Houston. And God, the COVID makes things tricky, man. And it gets no trickier than this situation with the Cougars. They thought they've had 5 games canceled. And now we have 7s on the board. And that was clear that was going to happen. This morning, you could have got Houston at -6.5. Nothing from my breakdown made me want to jump on Houston at -6.5, but the betting public wants it. So it opens up at 4.5. It's now at 7. And this total is at between 59 and 60. But there's only 160 left. So it looks like money's coming in on these unders right now. Cash Action Bet says Houston is a play at -7. A. Hilly's on the over, Tulane Houston at 59.5. So for Houston, games against Washington State, Rice, Baylor, North Texas have been canceled. The December 5th game against Memphis is being rescheduled. But Holgerson is like, man, we're healthy. We're in a good place. We're ready to go. We're prepared. We're eager, saying all the right things. But they're breaking in 33 junior college FCS and FBS transfers. They also lost Derek King when he transferred. Clayton Tune comes in, 1,533 yards, 11 touchdowns to 7 games, just 59% completions and 9 picks. That is your Houston Cougars team. I find it interesting that anybody can have a real clear expectation on what they're going to get from that club. Then we go to the Green Wave. Green Wave 2-1 start the year, 0-1 in conference. Road wins over South Alabama and Southern Miss. Third in the AAC in total defense, 368.3 yards per game. Fourth in total offense, outscoring opponents 39-25. Won last year's meeting 38-31 with a 53-yard score with 3 seconds left. And Fritz benched Keon Howard in Tulane's last game against Southern Miss. And as soon as he did that, their offense exploded with Michael Pratt. Pratt goes 9-19 with 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. They lose their leading rusher, Tyjae Spears, and it doesn't matter. They have such a deep, deep core of running backs. They put up 427 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. 7.9 yards per carry against the Golden Eagles. Cameron Carroll, 7 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown in 3 games. And D. Summers says Tulane +7. Tulane's run offense racked up more than 400 against Southern Miss. Houston hasn't played a game and should be rusty. Blitz W liking Houston early. Ravi Patel interested in the under. And Joseph Gomez says, is Houston going to have fans? Let me look that up. I don't have that in front of me, and I'm not sure. That's a good question, Joseph. Tulane, Houston. Nolly Knows. Take it away. Any looks?
This is a game what I see is a lot of question marks. You know, Houston, it's tough for them to get up for the game. Are they still expecting it to get canceled at the last second? I mean, one of the games got canceled with just 24-hour notice. So it's been a tough ride for them to not be able to play, specifically because of the turnover. You know, you got so many different moving pieces here with this team. And with Dan Hogerson in his first year over there with Houston, I thought it was a bit weird. He was asking guys to sit out their year, take their red shirt, to kind of take the year off. One of the linebackers came out and said that. You see Derek King, he did that, ends up transferring out. So I'm not sure what to expect here from this Houston ball club. One thing I have seen over the last few years is that he hasn't been going with the same air raid attack as he used to. You got the only guy really still doing that is Mike Leach over there at Mississippi State. The only guy that stays true to just simple air raid. Hogerson has been mixing it up with the run significantly more the last few years, especially over there at West Virginia in his last year there. And on this side with Tulane, you mentioned it with the quarterback change. That was a big change for them, and they came out and completely demolished Southern Miss. Southern Miss, still a lot of questions over there with that team, but Tulane has looked pretty good. They had a tough come-from-behind victory from Navy, which I don't believe they had any business losing that game, and then they beat South Alabama. I like the way that they've been able to run the ball. That was a big weakness here for Houston last year, and I don't think they'll be able to correct it. I see a lot of running, and just for me, on this standpoint, I gotta agree with you that Tulane looks pretty good with the points. There's no way that I can trust a Houston team their first time out to lay 7 points, but just too many question marks for me. Do some of these guys come out and show out? Some of these transfers can really pan out and come in and ready to play right away, whereas some of these freshmen take a while. So, I mean, just too many questions for me.
Jay Certified saying Tulane +7. Birdie says NCAA football teams who have not played versus teams who have are 12-4 against the spread, covering by more than a 9-point average. So no advantage playing the team that has not played yet. You know, what do you think of this idea by Rob Watkins? And I think there's truth to it. Houston hasn't played yet, 7-point favorites, opening at 4.5. Tells me Vegas knows a lot more than anybody else. Somebody has to know something. Why is Houston taking all this money?
I mean, I guess they don't trust really Tulane. They don't believe in what they saw at Tulane. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't trust it. There's no way game one I'm going to be trusting that. And I mean, I understand those numbers, but I'd have to look deeper into that record. What teams are winning against who I would have to look at that 12-4. But yeah, I wouldn't trust it.
Well, I'm not going to. Something just doesn't feel right here. So I've got no move at this point. There's just too many moving parts. Too many moving parts, too many questions for you to make a move on the total as well, Nolly?
Yeah, I didn't really like Houston's defense last year. They didn't look good at all. Got ran on quite a bit, and that sets the tone for offenses. If you can't stop the run, you're not going to be able to stop the pass thereafter, short after. And on the other side for Tulane, the fact that they were able to run the ball, and then you see the quarterback change. Are they going to put up 66 against Houston? I don't think so, but I just didn't like the way the offenses were going. Tulane's defense has looked pretty good, haven't allowed more than 27 points in any of their games, but yeah, that's not just, yeah, I wouldn't trust it. Just.
All right, no move for us in Tulane, Houston. Interesting. Jay Certified says Tulane lost to Navy by 3, while Houston lost to Navy by 15. Says do the math, Tulane +7. Jay Certified not afraid to go up against this market move. You know, maybe we'll ask John Ryan if he's making a move on this spot, but I very uncomfortable. 33, they're breaking in 33 junior college FCS and FBS transfers. Rob Watkins says 69 points last year's meeting, and yes, it was last year. What just quickly, I know we want to move on to your two looks and then bring on John Ryan, but what do you think about the fact that nobody has any tape on what Houston is going to be doing this year, that Tulane's ability to move the ball on the ground so easily so far this year, and Houston having a problem with that last year, would lead towards the over?
I mean, I would agree to that, but I mean, I just think that I couldn't take the over specifically because Houston's is their first time out. Offenses take a little bit of time to gel because of the rhythm factor and the fact that Tulane just look pretty good on defense. But yeah, I just think there's just a lot of unknown. Like you said, a lot of moving pieces that come in, and it's tough. You know, the defense does have returners. Like you said, 6 returners total, but they do have returners on the defense. A lot of returners on there, and I don't know. I just think that's public perception on a Houston team versus Tulane here.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to move at this point.